This episode is brought to you by Smart Food. What makes Smart Food so smart? It's Air Pop Popcorn. Tossed in white cheddar cheese, only 70 calories per cup. A notorious black bag of popcorn deliciousness. You are what you eat. Welcome to the Smart Club. Shop now at snacks.com.
This episode is brought to you by 1923 on Paramount Plus. In Taylor Sheridan's new original series, 1923, the Duttons confront challenges, including the end of the First World War, America's industrialization, and the start of the Great Depression. Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford star in the new original series, 1923. Streaming December 18th exclusively on Paramount Plus. Head to ParamountPlus.com to try it free.
Fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to BWAAA. King of the Hill Rewatch podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, we are at Season 2, Episode 6, Husky Bobby.
The Husky Bobby episode. Yeah, this is a good one.
Do you remember Husky clothes?
No, I don't remember Husky clothes stores. I guess they might have phased out.
I was a little fat kid, and so I had to wear Husky clothes.
Husky. I went through a phase of huskiness around puberty where the weight, like it was just, I didn't carry it well.
Yeah.
The chunkiness, so I looked really like,
I still don't carry mine well,
misshapen, and then I grew, so.
Yeah. There used to be a line of clothes called Garanimals. You ever hear of Garanimals?
I've heard of Garanimals. Yeah, they still make those they're like baby clothes.
So the idea with Garanimals was that you match a tiger shirt with a tiger pants. Like they didn't look like tigers, but they had like a tiger face on them or whatever. And so if you match those things up, they go together and the sizes and all that stuff, but they came in Husky.
Husky, okay.
I don't know where we bought them from. I just remember it was downtown here somewhere.
Was it Hal Dumpty's?
It was H. Dumpty's.
Yeah, H. Dumpty's.
Yeah. Okay, so we start this one with Peggy, Hank, and Bobby all standing outside of Shelwyn's. Which Shelwyn's to me looks like a five and dime.
Yeah, just like a five and dime clothing store.
Like here, we used to have a thing called TG&Y, and that was a five and dime store.
I think these days it would be like Marshall's.
Yeah.
Or Ross.
Well,
like a discount clothes store.
Yeah, this was, they had clothes, they had toys, they had fish, there was a post office.
So they got a little bit of everything. Yeah, post
office. There was a post office window in there.
A humidor in the back.
It was weird.
A distillery out front. Yeah, they got it all.
That's right. It was truly a five and dime. You could get anything you wanted in there. So they start, they're outside, they're window shopping at Shelwyn's and the whole group there. And Hank is regaling us with why he likes Shelwyn's so much, and it's because he can always find something he likes. Like those work shoes he's looking at. And they're just plain old boots,
Plain brown, plain boots. That's all you need, practical.
Yeah, but he says, a fellow can get a lot of work done in boots like that.
And then Peggy says, do you think those earrings would look nice on me? And he said, you got to think practical, Peggy. Earrings can't keep you warm.
That's right. They can't keep you warm. And so Bobby is now trying on pants.
Struggling like hell with his pants.
He is hopping and jumping all over the place, and he's telling them that he can't get them to work, which sounds weird to me about pants.
Sounds really weird.
And so Hank says, and there's several lines in here that I really enjoy because they're very, like, I guess, country or Texan or whatever. Because he says, come on, son, it's not like your science doing up your pants.
Yeah, it's not a science to doing up your pants.
Doing up your pants. And so Peggy is try to work with these, honey. They're on sale. And that sounded like my mother, anything that was on sale.
They're on sale.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And so he asked the worker there if he can show him how to operate those pants.
We're having some trouble. Yeah.
How do you operate these pants? And the worker informs him, through a little private conversation. He asks him to step to the side and says, maybe it's just not quite the right time in your son for Shelwins.
Just not the time. Like, it's just weird to approach him and say it that way.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's like somebody at Target noticing you're struggling to put on a pair of pants. Maybe it's not the right time in your son's life for Target.
That's right. He said, well, Hank's like, what are you talking about? He said, I just wonder if you might feel more at home at a store like H. Dumpty's.
Yeah, what's H. Dumpty's?
H. Dumpty's, what a name.
That's a terrible name for a Husky store.
H. Dumpty's.
That's the comedy in the show for you there. This show was actually written, the guy who wrote this one was the same guy who wrote the Joneson episode.
Oh, the cigarettes.
Yeah, but the cigarettes.
That one keeps coming up.
Yeah, it does. He was the same guy who wrote that, but he was also he also wrote for The Simpsons and did various TV shows. Monk. He wrote for Bones even. But,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Bones I never liked. Because they were one of those shows that did a lot of the VR, like they would show a skeleton or something, and they were able to spin it around.
Oh, and do all that,
and all that stuff. Yeah, I didn't understand that. Anyway, the guy tells him that maybe it's not quite time. Might feel more comfortable at H. Dumpty's, and of course Peggy's like, "What is H. Dumpty's?" Which is weird to me that Hank and Peggy live in the city and they've never heard of H. Dumpty's. Because they normally know about
Hank,
everything.
Being a jackass as a kid, you think that Hank would at least know what a Humpty's is.
So the guy lets him know that Dumpty's is a store with special sizes for special kids. And Hank immediately is
like, you talking about at a fat kid store?
Fat kid store, that's right.
So that's the thing is I don't remember there ever being a store when I was growing up that was just like
just
necessarily
for fat
kids. Like I think by that point they would just have short-legged teenagers' clothes. You would just go over to like to the bigger kids section of clothing.
Short-legged teenager clothes. Where's the short-legged teenager department?
Yeah, where's
please?
the short-legged teenager department?
It's right next to Mrs. And so,
or your mom would have to hem your pants, so your pants would fit you. They would fit really good around your waist, but when they got down to your ankles, they'd be huge.
It's these huge pants you're just wading around in.
Yeah.
And so the worker tells him, words like fat, that's not going to win you any friends over at H. Dumpty's. And Peggy's like, do you think Bobby is special in that way?
I just don't understand why they make such a weird deal about it. I don't know. It was never a deal for me when I went through that stage.
The guy says, ma'am, for his height, your son is very special. He's a very special child.
Let's go tell Bobby he's fat.
That's right. Hank's just like, let's go tell Bobby he's fat. And so Peggy, of course, no. It's very sensitive for a little boy. We'll have to break it to him gently. And then they're back in the car, and Bobby's like, where are we going? And Peggy tells him that they're going to H. Dumpty's. And he says, what is that, a restaurant? Because, of course, that's everything that's on Bobby's mind. It's a
clothing store, yeah.
Yeah, he says it's a clothing store. She says it's a different kind of clothing store. He goes, how is it different? And then she has the argument of the snowflake.
Every snowflake is different in its own beautiful God-given way.
She said, right, Hank? And he goes, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Some are a whole lot bigger than others.
Does not make them any less beautiful.
And then one of my favorite lines is,
Are
Bobby,
you taking me
to the vet? So they end up at H. Dumpty's, and Hank's trying to make the best of it. He's like, no, this is my kind of store. And you can tell he's just like, oh, these fat kid stores.
Yeah.
And Peggy says, so many overalls. Fun colors, too.
Just super.
So many overalls. So Hank, he again putting on his best face. He's telling Bobby, you never could guess that they could stretch as much as they do, and they still keep their shape.
Must be using some sort of advanced polymer.
And he says, "What do you think about that, boy?" And he said, "Why do they have to expand so much?" He said, "Well, I don't know, for sports and skateboarding and things like that." A juvenile's always stretching his clothes. Yeah. So now we see some of the more husky boys walking through the store with their parents, and of course they have ice cream in their hands.
These kids don't look like they like sports. He said, well, sure they do. They're wearing sneakers and baseball caps, aren't they? And then Bobby looks up and looks at him and says, this is a fat kid store. Starts crying.
Peggy immediately, Bobby, we love you so much. Yeah.
I don't want to be here.
He says, I don't want to be here. And Hank's like, come on, son, it's no big deal. We're just shopping for clothes. You got nothing to feel bad about. And then Peggy launches into, in fact, you should be proud. You should be proud of who you are. Proud because you are, and she doesn't say different. She says different, like it's 3 words.
Different, yeah.
And because you are different, and being different is the best thing in the whole wide world. And so Bobby, of course, you know, he's always checking things that people say through the filter of his father. And he says, is that true, Dad? Oh, it sure is, son. And then you see Bobby is starting to try some stuff on. He's got a Kanga hat on in the first little scene and asking what he thinks. He's kind of putting on a little fashion show here with the fat kid clothes.
What he's doing, yeah.
Yeah. And Peggy, of course, you know, she's never seen such a handsome young man, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He comes out in shorts, and he says the shorts fit.
There's no lines.
There's no lines.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I guess they're creasing up on him, right? Where his extra Bobby is or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I guess they're creasing
so,
up
maybe.
on him. He comes out and he goes, look, I'm dressed like a football coach.
Yeah, you called that a block.
You called that a block? Look at me. And then he comes out in a suit. He says, I'm a minister.
That's terrific, son. Yeah.
He's a terrific son. And then over comes the owner of H. Dumpty's, Hal Dumpty. He introduces himself, says, I'm Hal Dumpty. This is my store. I couldn't help noticing your son. And, of course, Hank immediately launches into, I'm so sorry.
For the he always is apologizing for Bobby before he can find out what even the situation is.
I'll give him a talking to.
Yeah, I'll give him a stern
talking
to.
No, I love his enthusiasm. I want you to know, son, you look great in my class. And, of course, this is Bill, the guy who does Bill's voice, doing H.
Jim
Dumpty
Dotrieve.
also.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah, and so
no, not Jim Dotrieve, Stephen Root. Sorry.
Yeah, Stephen Root.
Jim Dotrieve is where they get the last name for Bill.
Right, and so he introduces himself to the owner, tells Bobby how great he looks in his clothes and all that, and asks him if he wants to be a fashion model, and basically says he's taken out an ad in the Arlen Bystander, which now we know is the local newspaper.
Yeah,
because I think that's the first time it's been mentioned. Right?
Yeah,
the Arlen Bystander. And he says he'd like for him to model for him. And Hank's a little taken aback, says, you want my son to be a fashion model?
Yeah.
He said, sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
because we're super busy, very busy.
Bobby's all into it, though. He's ready to go.
We got a lot to do today.
And Mr. Dumpty, he says, the photo shoot's not until tomorrow. And he's
less
time there. Thank you. And he's just like trying to back his whole family out of the
trying to get
thing.
everybody the hell out of it before somebody signs something.
And even Peggy is like, what are we doing tomorrow, Hank? And he said,
she's trying to let him do it.
Something very special. I don't have time to talk about it. That's a little time we have. And then we see another fat kid over there crying and saying, I don't want to. This is a fat kid store.
Here. Yeah,
right.
Another kid.
Yeah. And so now we get to back at the Hank Hill house, and Bobby is kind of putting on a little fashion show for Luann. And he says, hey, Luann, don't I look handsome? And she's like, oh, something looks different about you.
Yeah, did I cut your hair?
She asked him hair?
She must be drinking.
He is. He's wearing his short sleeve shirt, his little Argyle sweater, and his shorts with no lines. He said, "No, I got new clothes. Watch this, no rips."
Yeah, he starts wiggling around.
Moving around. Yeah. He said he found a better store for him.
Yeah, he said he thought he was extra large all this time, but he said it turns out I'm a medium.
He was just a medium. That's right. And so he tells Luann about them wanting to put him in the take his picture and put him in the ad. Yep. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you mean they want you to be a model?
Bobby,
this is a dream come true." That's right.
It is.
Yeah,
he looks up, says it is.
Bobby, models are some of the happiest people on earth.
She's trying to live vicariously through him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She said, "Do you have somebody do your hair?" He's like, "I don't even have a ride."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, I can drive you. I'll be your driver/stylist. I'm working towards getting my license in both." I love that part. Now we see Hank over reading the Arlen Bystander. And, of course, his comment is, this is not a restaurant review. It's a paid advertisement. I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said that. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
You see those little ads for stuff, or it looks like an ad, right?
Yeah.
It's like a review of a restaurant or something, but then at the very small print at the bottom, it'll say paid advertisement, down at the bottom or whatever.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just an ad. And so Bobby comes running in. And he's like, "Dad, man took pictures of me," which normally would be a real problem.
Yeah, that's the way he looks at him too. The way he lifts his newspaper up, which I don't even know what is a newspaper, but
that's true.
Yeah, these days anyway.
And so he Hank's taken back again, like I said, and Bobby is like, "No, I was a model for the H. Dumpty's ad," and he said, "What? I thought I agreed I was too busy for that." And Bobby said, "Well, Luann took me." And Luann she does get in a lot of scrapes like this.
She gets in a lot of different problems.
She oversteps her bounds.
A lot.
Honestly. Yeah, she should.
A lot of the time. Every episode that she's in, she's oversteps her boundaries.
So Bobby shows the pictures to Hank, which come in a plain brown envelope, by the way. And it's like a sheet of proofs, black and white proofs of these photos. And they show the first one is Bobby like laying all like he's at a sleepover on a bed.
Yeah, and then they get to the one where it's like the suntan oil thing. Yeah,
where
he's got the dog
ripping down his butt.
Ripping the what was that? That was Copper Tone.
Yeah,
Copper Tone girl.
That's right. Yeah, had the dog pulling her pants down. Yeah. And then this one, which Bobby says is his favorite, is the one where he's, for some reason, holding a sheet of cookies
with the assless,
and his ass is hanging out of his like long johns.
Yeah, the long johns.
And he's just like going, ooh. So he's got that embarrassed hand over his mouth or whatever. He says, "Yeah, that's the one that's going to be in the paper tomorrow." Bobby's super proud of the fact that he's done this stuff. Yeah, because this is really kind of the first.
He's winning.
Yeah,
like whenever he wins at something, or he feels like he's like first at something, he doesn't understand why his dad acts the way he acts.
Absolutely.
Because every time he gets to doing something that he enjoys, and he actually starts to find some type of success at it, Hank is always finding a problem with it, or. I guess we'll find out. and we do find out, yeah. And so we just kind of get a blah, and then it goes to, there's a commercial break. Next, we come back, and Hank's on the phone, I'm assuming, with the Arlen bystander, and he says, if you run that ad in your paper, my son could never go back to school. You've seen his picture. You can tell he's not very good with his fists. No, he's just a doughy dude.
So then we see Hank, he's running out because he sees that the paper's being delivered outside.
Yeah, and he's grabbing every single one of them out
and
of
just
every
ripping
paper,
the ad
ripping
out.
the whole ad out.
Yeah.
And he finally gets to Bill's house, and Bill sees him, and he goes, this is one of my favorite parts. He goes, did you come over to have breakfast with me because you thought I was lonely? And he goes, sure. And he goes, well, all right, I'll start grating the potatoes.
Potatoes.
So, yeah, potatoes. So he starts to walk in, and when he walks in, Hank just looks over and shakes his head and walks off.
Leaves, yeah.
He just leaves him there.
He says, then Hank is talking to Bobby. He says, I don't really want to make too big a deal out of this, Bobby. And Bobby's like, why not? I got my picture taken. This is one of my favorites also. I got my picture taken. I made $40 and they let me keep the underwear.
Yeah,
and then for some weird reason, Bobby says, I'm still wearing it, Dad.
Yeah, I'm still wearing it, Dad.
It's like the weirdest pseudo-sexual thing.
Yeah.
I don't really understand it, but anyway.
No, that's what my dad does. He wouldn't have really cared. Like if I told him I'd made $40,
yeah,
and you got
free underwear,
and I got free underwear. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good deal.
What else are you getting?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Now we see Peggy. She is on the phone. She does a lot of okie dokies and bye-byes, and she thanks them for calling. She says that is the second biggest talent agent in all of Arlen. Second biggest.
The second biggest. It's never the first. Yeah, I was surprised it wasn't the third.
Yeah, he says he saw the ad, and he wants to meet them. He thinks he can get Bobby a lot of work, which I guess is understandable. I guess there's a lot of Husky Boy ads. I don't know.
He goes, wow, where do I sign?
Yeah. And then Hank is like, why are you encouraging the boy? I'm trying to contain an outbreak here, and you're driving the monkey to the airport.
Which is, I don't know if it's an intentional reference, but there was a movie that came out a couple of years before this episode was aired.
Outbreak.
A movie called Outbreak, where there was particularly a monkey involved in it that had like some kind of virus spread.
Yeah, that was kind of fortuitous, huh?
Yeah.
And so she just tells him about how, it makes him feel good about himself and blah, blah, blah. And Hank is like, the harm, Peggy, is the fact that kids always victimize the one who's different. Believe me, I know. And then we go to a flashback
of Hank being an asshole.
It's just
hey, fatty,
Hank yelling
you
at fat
are
people.
Fat. But it's funny, he wasn't even trying to be inventive and say something, silly or nothing. He just said, hey, fatty, you are fat. Such a jackass.
He was. It was kind of a jackass move. But Peggy lets him know that, times have changed. And thank goodness. Yep, we celebrate our differences. Don't you watch TV? And Hank's like, I watch TV.
Oh, yeah, this is where she does that jump in the air, too.
Yeah, she starts saying maybe you should watch a little more closely the TV, the daytime talk shows. People are always standing up and saying, I'm different, I'm proud of it, and get used to it. Woo! She does her little jump. And Hank is like, I'm not saying he shouldn't be proud. I just said he should keep it to himself. And so if he ends up on Oprah with nothing to say, well, then so be it. And so Peggy just is like, Hank, look at him. Look how happy he is. And then we go to Bobby, and he is showing Luann, how his life is just improving because of this thing.
He's got this scrapbook, and
first
he goes,
I got a birth certificate,
a leaf I found,
a leaf I found,
and now this, and it was the advertisement that he had cut out of the paper.
Yeah. And she's like, Hank, do you really want to take that away from him? And so next we see they are at the second biggest talent agent in all of Arlen, and the agent, a real Weasley guy, I would say. Little Weasley.
A little weird.
Yeah, he offers water. Bobby is like, oh, in a bottle. He says, yeah, at this,
when
this
you
level,
reach the top, son, you'll find most of everything
comes in a
is.
bottle.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
I love how he offers water to Peggy, and she says, no, I'm not thirsty right now, but thank you very much, and just sticks it in her purse. She just takes the whole bottle of water. But he tells him about how...
That's a Southern thing, though. If somebody gives you something, you take it.
Oh, yeah.
You don't
absolutely.
argue.
Yeah.
You just, all right, well, thank you.
Oh, yeah. The agent starts telling, the second biggest talent agent in Arlen tells him that the H. Dumpty's ad was a good start, but he thinks that he could be the next Andy Maynard.
The Andy Maynard.
Andy Maynard? Maynard, whatever. And he goes, hey, I've seen that guy. He likes his Sunday even on Monday.
Even on a Monday. I didn't even know he was real.
Yeah, Peggy's like, I didn't even know he was real. And
he's real, all right. That's real hot.
Yeah, and that he's got him headlining the Little Junior Plus fashion show next week, and Peggy wants to know if that's something that Bobby could do.
One step at a time, Miss Hill.
Yeah, he says there's a catalog shoot tomorrow for Caulfields of Texas, whatever that is, and says they're launching a new line of clothing called Gravitas. That's, and honestly, I thought that Gravitas, that word and its usage, came out of like 2 or 3 elections ago, right? But this is way back where they were using the word gravitas, which I think is kind of forward thinking.
Yeah.
And so Bobby's like, oh, I want that.
Oh, I didn't even know it was a word. That's the first I've ever heard.
Oh, really?
Of it. Yeah, it's actually a word.
Oh,
Dignity, seriousness, or solemnity of manner.
Yeah, so they used that in the Barack Obama in his election.
Oh, okay.
They said that he had a certain gravitas about him. And they were talking about how he was very calm, and he could calm people down and things like that. He had that gravitas, or that extra kind of, I don't know, that feeling of a leader.
Yeah, there's also if you're in Washington, D.C., there's also a restaurant on 1401 Okie Street.
Called Gravitas?
Called Gravitas. That's 1401 OKIE Street. Tell them I sent you.
Is it only for Husky boys?
Only for Husky boys. No, it's actually a nice-looking restaurant. I don't know what it says. It says minimalist, industrial, chic venue features new American tasting menus with locally sourced fare. So just pigeons. What are you, Washington, D.C.? Pigeons and dandelions.
Pigeons and dandelions. But served very well.
Very well.
And so Hank comes in the room, and he's like trying to get Bobby off of this whole modeling thing, and he's got the football in his hand, and he said, hey, why don't we go out and toss that old pigskin around, get a little exercise? I don't think so, Dad. I got a catalog shoot.
And he's sitting there with a spoon and a big-ass jar of Jiffy, just sitting there
eating that peanut butter. He says, I got to watch my shape. And he says, I tell you what, if you play a little football with the old man this afternoon, I'll buy you that album by those guys I hate.
Yeah. He's like, thanks, already got it. My agent gave me an advance.
My agent.
I also got that bike helmet you said you'd buy me if my grades improved. and this is my favorite part right here, how dumb Bill is. A working man, a man who works 40 hours a week cutting hair for the military. He goes, all raked and bagged, Bobby. And he goes, thanks, Mr. Dotrieve. And then he hands him his money, and he goes,
gives him $2 or whatever.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. It wasn't even $2 is a $1 bill.
He's like, hey, Hank. And so Hank is really taken back by this. He's like, raking the yard is your job, Bobby. He says, yeah, but I got a career to think about now, and the yard is raked, and this peanut butter's not going to eat itself. So back to work.
Yep.
So next we see the boys are out in the alley, but it's just Boomhauer, Dale, and Hank. They're out there drinking, and here comes Peggy. She's like, hey, we're off to the photo shoot, Hank. See you there later. And so I'm assuming she's driving Bobby to the Caulfields of Texas Gravitas shoot.
The Gravitas.
Uh-huh. And
not affiliated with the Gravitas of Washington, D.C.
That's right. Pigeons and dandelions. And so Dale doesn't know how to insult people.
No, he really doesn't.
Because he says, photo shoot? What's this about a photo shoot? And he's like, nothing. And he's like, so Family Boy's getting his portrait taken.
It's funny how Hardy laughs too.
Did you bring your comb?
Yeah. Did you bring your comb? Yeah.
And then you get Boomhauer adding on to it. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, he gets all pretty up and then combing his hair off the side like, this is my good side, dang old pretty sissy out like that. So.
Yeah, pretty sissy out like that. Yeah, I like that one.
And then Hank, very un-Hank-like, says, you know what, guys, you ought to watch it. Making fun of people like that, you could hurt their feelings. Which, that's not something Hank says.
No, that was the most un-Hank comment of this episode.
You
for
don't
sure.
hurt people's feelings.
You could hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
And then they just both, I think they both
they just start laughing.
They have like a deadpan look, and then they both just
start
laughing.
Guffawing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hank shows up at the Caulfields of Texas Gravitas photo shoot, and he walks in, and this is not Hank's kind of room.
Not at all.
There are a lot of weirdos in there. There's a lady with a iguana on her shoulder. Yeah. Then comes a guy with
all the women all the women are midriff exposed.
Right.
Too. They're all there's cleavage out and everything.
There's one guy on all fours and another guy sitting on his back holding a flower pot.
Yeah.
That's having their picture taken.
Smoke in his face. Somebody was smoking a cigarette.
There's a guy with Liberty spikes on his head.
Yeah.
A big punk rocker or whatever.
That was the first one he saw when he walked in, and just a look on his face like, oh.
But you keep seeing that guy. Like, remember when Hank has that kind of flashback of Luann's boyfriend?
Oh, the dude beating his head to the wall. Or to the tree.
Kind of guy.
It's that same guy.
Yeah. And so Hank is looking for Bobby. He's shouting for him, and he says, hey, Dad, just in time. We're coming off of 5 now. We're just going to shoot. We're going to shoot another setup. Grab a plate and settle. That means be quiet.
Yeah, grab a plate and settle.
Yeah, and Peggy says, oh, hey, here we go, Hank. And Hank wants to know if he has any idea how he looks, because Bobby is sitting in that chair he's getting his makeup and he's got a little fan on him and the whole
Bobby
thing.
deadpan looks at him dead in his eye and says, on camera or off, because they're two very different things.
That's right. Yeah, it's amazing how fast Bobby has taken to this world. It's like he was looking for it.
Bobby assumes these roles really, really well.
Oh, super easy.
This episode particularly kind of reminds me of the episode where I know it's a one we haven't reached yet, but the episode where they go to Louisiana and they go meet Bill's family.
Oh yeah,
and he wears that dapper that Southern gentleman suit, and he said, "Well, I'm a flower. I'm wilting. Yeah.
I'm wilting." Yeah. So then we're introduced to Carlo, who I'm assuming is the big time photographer. And he says, "Can we have it quiet on the set, please, or whatever?" Yeah. And Bobby's like, "Carlo's a little upset today. He had a spat with Orlando. I am learning so much."
And you just see the look of disgust on Hank's face that his son is concerned with what two men's love life is more than he is about mowing lawns.
That's right. Yeah, or raking leaves.
Yeah, raking leaves.
Peggy finds Hank, and he tells her, "My God, Peggy, I feel like I've died and gone to New York."
Which is funny that he says that, because this is before we know that that's actually where Hank was born.
That's true.
Not a true Texan, Hank. Not a true Texan.
And so Peggy tells him, that it's very exciting. I think Bobby may have found his calling. And then, of course, Luann's there for some reason. And she says, director wants to put Bobby in the Little Junior Plus fashion show. And Hank's like, the Little Junior what? And she goes, Plus. It's this weekend. And then Peggy is like, Orlando says they're going to broadcast it on Arlen Cable Access. And Luann's like, but don't tell Carlo.
No, don't tell Carlo.
No, don't tell Carlo. He goes, why would I tell anything to Carlo? Who the hell is Carlo?
And then you get this riff with Carlo where it's like, it's your birthday. Yes, you're older now. Where's the time gone, little man? Yes, that's it. And you make a wish for something magical. Don't tell. And then they switch,
dressed up like an athlete or whatever.
Yeah. And then he's like, run, look at you go. Go to the 50. Go to the 60.
And go to the 60.
Yeah, this is your Olympic dream come true. Olympic dream come true on a football field.
That's right.
They try to tackle you, but you won't let them because you look too fantastic. And then they switch to a lifeguard stand.
Dressed up like a lifeguard.
Hey there, lifeguard, look at you. Up on your personal high. All you do, they splash and splash, but not you. And he's like, cut, that's it.
Yeah,
Hank
Hank
can't handle it no
has
more.
had enough.
He's done. Yeah, Hank reaches his boiling point on this part.
He literally
he does the most Hank thing ever here.
He literally tells everybody to go home. He goes, none of this ever happens.
He always does that. It doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. If you piss Hank off and he's done with the situation, everybody go home.
Peggy's like, Hank, what are you doing? He goes, I'm not doing anything. I'm not even here. None of us are. Let's go.
Hanky,
yeah, they're back out in the car, and this is the first time I've ever heard him I've ever heard her call him Hanky.
Yeah, this is the first
which
time
is a little weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because we don't get that a lot.
You don't get terms of endearment.
Yeah. So Hanky, and Hank's just like, nope. And Bobby's
because
like,
it's kind of funny
Dad?
that they call each other by their names so much, because my parents, they've been married like 35 years, and I don't think I've ever heard them call each other's name once.
You don't even hear peg leg very often.
No.
You know? But
so I guess that's the peg leg for Peggy is Hanky.
Hanky, I guess. She says Hanky. He says no. Bobby says Dad. He says no. Luann says Uncle. She says no.
And then she goes, you don't even know what I was going to say.
Bobby's like, it's not fair. I've been looking forward to this fashion show for hours. I want to be a part of history, please. And he says, Bobby, there are times when a father knows best, and this is one of those times. And then again, one of my favorites, Luann.
Peggy, not Peggy, but Luann. Her head is, well, in the scene where she says, you don't know what I was going to say,
right.
Her head is like all the way up against the door at this point. You can't really see anything. But then when she says this, she goes,
my hair is caught in the door.
You can see her hair flying in the wind.
She's got her hair caught in the freaking door. And so they're back at the house, and Hank is like, it's really our fault, Peggy. Somewhere along the line, we forgot to teach Bobby shame. Which, honestly, there is an argument to be made there that shame can be a good thing. You do have to have a little bit of shame sometimes. I mean, because you don't want to just walk around with your pants down around your ankles everywhere you go.
Well,
right?
I mean, if that's what you want to do,
is it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't really think shame exists unless you want it to exist.
Really?
Yeah, I think shame is a personal problem.
Okay.
For individuals, because I don't think that, I think people should just, if wearing your pants at your ankles is what makes you happy in life,
yeah,
and as long as you're not affecting anybody.
Well, that's the thing. Are you? That's the thing. Are you affecting other people at that point?
Well, as long as your bare ass isn't showing.
Well, see, where's the line?
The line, I guess, would be nudity. That would be the societal line.
Keep on your H-Dumpty underwear.
Yeah, I guess that's the line.
He says we can't count on the schools for everything, and he's talking about shame.
Yeah.
And anyway, the next day they end up going to bed, and the next day Hank is pretty sure that Bobby's going to forget all about it by the next morning.
I'll take that back. Yeah, I guess there is some things that people.
There
should be a little bit of
right.
Like you can't just have like your house like just completely upside down.
I was at a show the other night, and a guy was wearing a shirt that said F Ted Cruz, but it said the word, right? But I understand the sentiment. I get it, really, because I think the guy's a tool. But the word being on the top of your shirt, all the kids that are around you are going to see that. And is that a thing or not? I mean, should that be there is a certain line to free speech. I understand that you should be able to do, or you can do it, but should you? There is a line there. Now, whether that's shame or whatever it is, I think there's something to be said for that. But anyway, I think that's kind of what Hank meant when he says shame. I don't think he really means shame necessarily.
Yeah.
So the next morning, we see Bobby with his little suit carrying case, and he goes out and takes a cab, and he's going to this little junior's fashion show.
Yeah, he's getting there.
And so Hank is looking for him, and he asks Peggy where he's at, and she's like, well, I guess he's still sleeping because he doesn't have anything to wake up for. And Hank's like, well, I better go talk to him. He goes in looking for him and just sees a pile there. Ends up pulling back the covers, realizing that Bobby is not there.
Yeah, he starts talking to him. He says, Bobby, I know you're probably upset with me right now, but one day you'll understand how much love it takes to crush a little boy's dreams.
Crush a little boy's dreams. It is summertime here in Central Texas, and I don't know about you, but I am already sweating.
Oh yeah, I've got swamp ass and ball sweat more than I know what to do with. And if it wasn't for Ballsy and their products, I'm sure right now I'd be able to smell my own balls. So I'm really thankful for their products.
Yeah, your cleanliness is a reflection of you, especially below the belt. And I think about cleanliness a lot because, like, I've got a beard. I've had one for a long time. You've got one. But I never really think about taking care of my down under as I do my face.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't think that a lot of people, think about keeping their balls clean and fresh.
No.
I think that's an endemic in males is keeping our groin area clean.
Yeah, because, it's no secret that balls are prone to odor, sweat, irritation. So you need something like Ballsy.
Yeah, so guys, you need to upgrade your balls game with Ballsy. Yep. They've got quality, long-lasting products formulated to keep you fresh, comfortable, and confident. And for me, I tried out the Ballsy trimmer, the beard trimmer part of it. I shaved my mustache with it.
That's the cool thing. It comes with both heads.
It comes with both heads.
So it's not like you have to use the same head on your face as you do your intimate regions.
Yeah, your intimate regions.
Yeah.
So they got your sack covered with a ball wash, sack spray, and more. And I'll attest to the ball wash. My balls have never smelled cleaner and felt fresher ever in the entirety of my life. So
yeah, I took a small sample of friends and family, and they said my balls smelled wonderful.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. My dog
it
told
was
me
uncomfortable after that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
So, when you go to Ballsy, you can get different things like you can take a quiz to see where to start. They have a sack pack. The sack pack has all of it. It's the ultimate
trifecta.
It is the ultimate trifecta of products specially formulated to take care of your most prized possessions, which should be your balls.
And the big thing is it is made right here in the U.S. of A.
In the U.S. of A. That's right. And it always will be.
Always will be.
Or so tell the people at Ballsy.
Or so says Ballsy.
So
and
says
they
Ballsy.
have over 200,000 currently satisfied customers with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you've got to give it a try. Yeah. There's no risks involved. Yeah. And the only thing that could happen out of this is clean, fresh balls.
That's what I'm saying, right? So what you need to do is go to ballwash.com, put in promo code KOTH, as in King of the Hill. So ballwash.com, promo code KOTH, and you'll receive 20% off your order of $50 or more. That's 20% off when you go to ballwash.com and put in promo code KOTH. So says Ballsy.
Balls.
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, Mike.
Your dog deserves tasty, healthy, real food, not kibble. Don't give him kibble.
No, I like to give my dog food that's created by a vet that exceeds all industry standards.
There you
Fresh
go.
dog food, a stable shelf life, and affordable. This food here, Sundays for Dogs, Mike, it's
Sundays for Dogs.
It's 40% less expensive than leading fresh brands.
Yeah, and it's like you say, it's created by a vet. It's shelf stable, which I don't get those dog foods that are in the freezer and refrigerator and stuff. That just seems like a lot. I've got a friend of mine who makes his own cat food, which is weird. But
it's especially weird when you could get it from Sundays for Dogs.
That's what I'm saying, right? He's got cats, so he's weird anyway. But
he could feed it Sundays for Dogs.
Feed his cats to Sundays for Dogs?
It's created by a vet. It's fresh dog food. It's customized for dog size, breed, and activity level. So all he has to do is take a quick quiz and see if it's right for his pup.
Yeah, you just go to sundaysfordogs.com. You take the quiz. Best part about all this, let me tell you about some of the benefits first. You're going to get increased excitement from your dog about eating, which my dogs are not super excited about eating because I buy them junk, but not anymore. You'll get better stool, which, if your dogs stay outside all day, that's a big deal. You'll get more energy out of your dogs, improve weight, softer coat, just a better life for your dogs if you feed them this
my
stuff.
dog loves it. It's real easy for her to eat. She's an older dog, but it's really easy for her to eat. And
she's 104.
She's 104, yes. Right. And the fact
not
that
in
it's
dog years,
not in dog years, in human years. Yeah, she's extremely, extremely old, and I think it's due to eating Sundays for Dogs.
Sure.
Which the quality ingredients are really good for her health. The crap they put in, a lot of the store brand stuff is just junk for them. Yeah. and a lot of filler and stuff like that.
It's
and
like feeding your kid Doritos all day.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a bag of Doritos.
That kid's going to stop up at some point.
And Sundays for Dogs is like a bag of carrots with...
It is. It's like carrots and real meat and things
just
like
good
that.
Stuff. Yeah.
You know, if you go to sundaysfordogs.com and take that quiz and figure out the right plan for your pup, the best part about that is you can get 35% off your first order if you use the code KOTH, as in King of the Hill, KOTH, and you'll get 35% off your order.
Well, 35%.
That's a big
good.
deal.
That
you know,
deal.
most of these things you hear is 10%, but for this one, you go to sundaysfordogs.com, enter KOTH as the code, and get 35% off.
Yeah, that's great.
Woof.
Watch us fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
So the next morning, he is looking for Bobby. He goes in looking for him, finds a pile, pulls that back, realizes that Bobby's not in there, runs into Luann and says, Bobby's gone. You got to tell me where he is. And then he's like, oh, no, not you too, because all he sees is a pile in Luann's bed. Ends up pulling all the clothes back, or the covers back, and it's Luann and Buckley in the bed.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite lines probably of the entire series.
Yeah.
He looks at both of them and he says, I'm in a crisis situation. I got to find Bobby. You two take turns kicking each other's asses. Yeah, that was great.
And so he runs out.
That's a great line. Fantastic.
Bobby arrives at what I'm assuming is the mall. I think they do say the name of the mall
Yeah, I
at
think
some
it's
point.
at the mall.
But he's at the mall. He arrives. I'm Bobby Hill. I'm here for the show.
You're a talent.
The lady's like, yeah, Bobby Hill, you're talent. Here's your complimentary tote bag. And
Toilet
then
water.
Bobby pulls out the toilet water, and he goes, cool, that's like for an emergency or something, right?
The hell is toilet water?
It would be like cologne.
Oh, cologne.
Yeah, old
Okay.
people used to call it toilet water.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, not a great name.
Yeah, well, it does say on there EAU, like it always like the
Eau de
French.
toilette.
Eau de toilette.
Mhm. Yeah. And so they are
So the
now,
French named it toilet water.
They did.
Okay.
They did. They are now hauling ass to the mall because they know where Bobby's at this point.
Is that a component in cologne? Is toilet water?
I don't think it's real toilet water.
You don't think like
I think
like there's a
toilet.
factory somewhere where they just scoop buckets of toilet water to the line to go make cologne?
I hope not,
Yeah, I hope
but
not.
that could be it. Yeah, maybe that's like
what would Hank
Evian.
Hill's cologne smell like?
Huh?
What would Hank Hill's cologne smell like?
Oh, it would smell like propane
Or Brute?
or meat. High
Or
karate.
meat. High karate.
Have you ever heard of high karate?
No.
Okay, so look up high karate. You got a computer right in front of you. My dad used to wear something called high karate. Right,
High karate cologne.
It was a cologne you could buy at like Eckerd's or CVS or
well,
Walgreens
there's
or whatever.
TV commercials. I'm
Right.
gonna watch that. I'm gonna say that.
It was
I'm
a
gonna check
guy
that.
that would just like kick at the screen or whatever, and it was
Oriental lime, musk, Oriental spice.
Oriental lime. What is? I don't even know what that is.
First launched in 1967.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if I can find a vintage bottle of it.
My dad would wear high karate, or he would wear whatever the smell was, some sort of musk that came out of the Avon bottle that was shaped like a car.
Okay. Yeah, my dad.
It was one of those two.
Brute or Stetson Black.
Yeah, Stetson. Yeah,
That's what my dad liked. Yeah.
And so they are hauling ass to get Bobby to the mall or at the mall. And Peggy's like, it doesn't matter how fast you drive, Hank. We'll never get there on time. We might as well face it. We're missing his big moment. Yep.
No, we're stopping his big moment. I didn't fill up with 89 octane for nothing, which is a low octane gas these
89
days.
octane, yeah. And so now we're at the mall. And, okay, I need your help. What is this kid's name? The one that, you're poor. Or what? What is his name?
Oh man!
Yeah,
if you wouldn't have asked me, I would have been able to
can't
tell
ever
you.
remember this kid's name.
Oh, his name is Stuart Dooley. Yeah, Stuart Dooley. Yeah, I
so
remember now.
Dooley
Okay.
comes up and he's like, "What is this?" And the lady tells him it's a fashion show for plus size boys. Plus, there's going to be music, a fog machine.
Which that's Mike Judge's voice, by the way, is Dooley. Mike Judge does his voice.
Yeah.
Which I went back last night and I went on Paramount and I noticed that they have all of Beavis and Butthead on there again, all the old Beavis and Butthead, and
but they've remastered them.
They've remastered it, but what the funny thing is that Mike Judge said the reason why on the DVD, because the DVD release of Beavis and Butthead had 0 music videos because they didn't want to go through all the legal stuff to get all the rights to have all the songs on the DVD.
Yeah.
But on the Paramount Plus version, they have all the music videos on there because Paramount Plus is a huge corporation and they are able to do the legwork.
I'm sure they own half the catalog too.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was I was watching. I was like, man, it was. so much Mike Judge because he voiced the majority of it.
They've got the new Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe or whatever.
That's
it is.
coming out soon.
Space or whatever.
Well,
it's
it was
called.
really cool hearing. I guess is it Mr. Anderson, Tom Anderson or something is the name of the dude, their neighbor. It's cool listening to him because you hear because of course he's the model for Hank, but there's a lot of Hank isms too, like old man front yard type, humor and stuff like that just kills me throughout the whole. I was watching it, I couldn't stop laughing all night last night.
So the lady lets them know that there's going to be music, there's going to be a fog machine, it goes to benefit the schools. Plus, there's free donuts.
Yeah, we'll do it for the schools.
We'll do it for the schools.
Yeah.
And so now Bobby gets to meet Andy Maynard, and he says, I'm going to be in the show with you. And Andy, of course, is a big tool.
Yep.
He's like, don't put your stuff down there. I call this whole makeup counter. And
whole makeup counter, yeah. If you don't want to get in trouble, get me a brownie.
He says, he asked him if he got the free tote bag.
Yeah.
Which Bobby was super excited about.
Worst one I've ever seen.
Andy's, he says it's the worst one he's ever got. And so here comes Hank. And Hank runs in and he says he's looking for Bobby. He pulls back a curtain and there's a bunch of boys without shirts on, a bunch of portly boys without shirts on. And he goes, relax, it's nothing. It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
And then he cuts his head down and he's like,
And so the agent is now telling Bobby, don't say I didn't hustle for you. I got you on first. And Bobby's really surprised by this. He's like, first, me? But what will Andy Maynard think? And then Andy comes walking up and he goes, I'll tell you what Andy Maynard thinks. Andy Maynard always goes on first.
Yeah.
Right. And he starts crying, yeah. And so Bobby's like, do you think I'm really ready for this? And the agent tells him, I don't think you are. I know you are. Now go out there and knock 'em dead, sailor boy.
Yeah, knock 'em dead, sailor boy.
He's wearing that stupid sailor hat.
Sailor hat, yeah.
Yeah, and so Hank finally finds him and says, you going to come quietly or do I have to carry you out baby tantrum style, which I'm assuming is lots of fists and legs kicking.
Yeah.
And Bobby's like, you can't make me leave, Dad. I'm going on first. I've never been first in anything. So again, here comes this thing where Bobby feels like he's winning and Hank is tearing it apart for him. And so he lets him know that he's going to be first. And he says, tell you what, you can be the first to drop out
of this show.
And so Bobby, again, he's like, why are you always trying to turn me into you? Why can't you accept me for who I am?
And then Hank goes, well, we both saw that after school special, but I'm not an alcoholic and you're not an ice skater. But, it could be said that he is a alcoholic, though. Because there's every episode he's got a beer, but maybe, whenever...
Well, I don't think he gets abusive,
whenever a functional, no, probably not, but that's what I'm saying. Whenever a functional alcoholic is called an alcoholic, it's offensive.
Oh, sure.
Because they don't feel like it's a problem. But I thought it was funny, he said, but I'm not an alcoholic. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so...
And he says, you're not an ice skater.
I just love the fact that, he's like, we both saw that after school special. You can't use that argument on me.
Yeah, we both saw that.
And so he just says, come on, son, I'm trying to keep you from being embarrassed. And which Hank really does think he's doing the right thing here. He doesn't want to see his son. He doesn't want to see He doesn't want to see his son embarrassed. He doesn't want him to go through the bad times.
Which is crazy because my dad lived to embarrass. He actually enjoyed embarrassing us. So there was a one act play, and I was the MC for it.
Oh,
and so it's me and 40, 50 sets of parents.
Yeah,
and I do the whole MC thing, and at the very end of the show, I do the closing thing for the MC part, and my dad, and it's only like 7 o'clock at night, and my dad goes, hurry up, it's time for bed. And I'm like, oh, no, like, as soon as I finished, everybody claps, and as soon as it got quiet before everybody started to shuffle, he's like, all right, now hurry up, get off the stage, it's time to go home and go to bed.
Oh, my gosh. I used to drop my kids off. I would drop them off in front of the school, and then I would roll the window down as they were walking in. I'd go, make good choices, or something like that.
I just turned the music up real loud.
That's right. So Hank is trying real hard to get Bobby out of here. He just tells him he doesn't want him to be embarrassed and Bobby's like, is that what you're afraid of? Are you afraid that you'll be embarrassed? And so here comes the agent, and he asks Bobby if he's too sexy for his shirt, which, was a big song at that point.
Yeah.
You know that song, right?
Yeah.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
My shirt too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
He says, I'm sorry, Mr. Stokes, which I guess is that the first time we've heard the name of the agent, Mr. Stokes?
I think so.
I thought it was too.
Maybe.
And he says, I want to do the show, but I want to do the show, but my dad won't let me. I guess I'll never get my moment in the spotlight. And then Hank is like, Okay, wait. And you think he's going to say, okay, Bobby, do what makes you feel good or whatever. And he says, yes, Dad. He says, why don't you drape this poncho over you while we get to the car?
Which is funny, yeah.
Yeah, and so now we get the big moment, the Little Junior Plus.
We get
pageant.
the name of the mall as well, right?
Oh,
here.
that's true.
The Arlen
yeah, it's
Galleria-plex.
Galleria-plex. I did underline that. They are proud to present fashions for a new millennium.
Yeah, we're getting ready to break the millennium here on this one. This is November of 97, this episode.
Yeah, so it's getting real close.
Yeah, really close.
And Bobby says, no, let me go. I have to get out there before the whale spouts confetti.
Do you remember that, though? Like the years build up before millennium?
Sure, yeah.
I remember moving over here in 96, and I remember from like 96, 97, 98, 99, because that's when I became conscious of culture, period, was like 96, 97. And then I remember on TV all the time, the new millennium's coming. The new millennium's coming for like 5 years.
Oh, and everybody was so worried about the Y2K
Everybody was
thing.
so worried about it.
I was working in IT at that point.
So, yeah, it was a madhouse. It was probably a nut house. Yeah, I can imagine.
All the programmers thought that everything was going to shut down.
I have a buddy that I play video games with that does, he does 911 systems for all of North America, and he remembers around September 11th and how nuts he was like, because he's been doing it for like 30-odd years. And he was like, it was just insane.
Oh, absolutely.
For everything. He's like it was literally, he said it was literally more people doing all this fail-safe stuff that was causing problems than there was actually a problem need to be caused.
Well, you got all the hoarders, the preppers, the all of that stuff.
All the ham radio guys.
You got all the guys, thinking that the world was going to end, everything was going to go into complete chaos, and then you got 9/11 right after that. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 years there. It was
crazy.
Just nuts. Yeah, you think it's nuts now, but
the Bush recession
was pretty nuts then too.
Yeah.
It was about the same kind of thing. And so he lets him know that he needs to get out there before the whale spouts confetti. And Hank finally gets him off of there and puts him over his shoulder, and he's carrying him out. And then you see Dooley and his dumb friends throwing donuts. So they start chunking donuts at everybody.
Oh, yeah, but before that, Bobby's hat falls off his head, and that Maynard guy walks up and says, "See you later, navigator." Takes the hat and walks off. And then as soon as he grabs the hat and walks off, he's like walking straight onto the catwalk. And then that leads up into
this
the teenagers
whole thing,
getting donuts thrown at him.
Yeah, they are throwing donuts, and it is like a it's like a war movie or something. Everybody's getting hit in the face with a donut, and people are falling down and grabbing at the curtain and all this stuff.
And then a guy walks up with more donuts, and he says, "Where do you need these?" He goes, "Right here's fine."
And he just keeps chunking them.
Just chunking them.
And then what I love is when the carnage settles, then the whale blows the confetti out of it.
At the end of it all. And then it goes back to Bobby and Hank, and Hank goes, Bobby goes, "Well, wow, Dad, how'd you know that was going to happen?" He goes, "I just know something about human nature, son," which he knows something about human nature because that was his nature at one point.
He says if you put teenagers and husky boys and donuts all in the same place, you're just asking for trouble.
Well, and he's not really free of that either. He would still make fun of somebody for being fat.
Oh, sure. I think especially if he were around the guys in the alley.
Especially if it was Bill.
Because Dale would be like, "Oh, fatty, fat.
And Bill, I mean, they make fun of Bill all the time for being overweight.
That's true. And so
even though Hank is like when
Hank's
you talk
not
about
exactly
when you talk about ones that are big, it's Hank and Bill, and the other two are the ones that are like
Hank's definitely got the beer belly with no ass, right?
Yeah,
he's that stereotypical Texas guy with the white T-shirt, beer belly, no ass.
Yeah.
And then Bill, of course, is just a big dumpy guy.
Big sloppy. Yeah.
Which is weird because he's the only one in the military.
And then you've got Dale, who is just he's skinny because of smoking.
Skinny as
he
a
just
rail.
smokes cigarettes. And then you got
Boomhauer's
fit.
Like
Boomhauer seems fit.
Wears his.
I would say Boomhauer's fit.
Well, he wears the Speedos and stuff.
Yeah, he wears the black shirt, the real slimming black shirt. Yeah. It's kind of dresses to me like what I would imagine like Patrick Swayze would dress like. When I see him walking down like Hollywood Boulevard, I imagine he would be in like a black shirt.
Patrick Swayze, Matthew McConaughey, that kind of same kind of look.
That suave Southern dude.
He says, Bobby's like, I feel good right now. I feel like this guy will get me out of anything. I'm going to have Bill wash your car.
Yeah, I'm going to have Bill wash your car. Pats his dad on the back. Yeah, I'm going to have your best friend wash your car, Dad.
He says, it goes to show a father knows what's best for his kid and the mother, although well-meaning is usually wrong.
Usually wrong. My
That's
lifetime
Peggy.
average is still higher than yours, mister. Or have you forgotten Solo Flex?
Do you remember a Solo Flex?
Peggy. No, I don't remember what that is.
So Solo Flex was one of those exercise machines that you bought off TV. Bobby, and it used the bands to give resistance. Everybody for a while had a SoloFlex machine where they would work
still
out.
Get a SoloFlex.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Founded in 1978, and they're still going. Yeah, they still have parts. Learn about whole body vibration.
Okay. I don't want to learn about
how it
that,
works.
but okay.
Research and articles and testimonials.
It sounds like Testacuzzi.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, she is making fun of Hank on the way out. They're all, everything has kind of summed itself up and come to an end here. And Peggy kind of came out of nowhere because she wasn't, running around with Hank looking for Bobby and stuff. But
yeah, it just pops up out of nowhere.
She's like, "Don't worry, Peggy. I'll use
you
it
can
every
see
day."
her. You see her and Luann, I think, when the donuts start flying and they run off.
That's true.
I think.
Yeah, and Hank's like, "All right, you made your point." And
chest, shoulder, and back.
Well, she said, she goes, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, chest, shoulders, and back. And he's like, "All right, enough. Okay,
you made your point."
Yeah,
it's a good episode.
This is a great episode because it again shows how much the family loves each other.
Yep.
Shows how Luann sticks her nose into things she shouldn't.
Always.
Bobby is always looking to be number one or be the winner.
And he's so, I hope that whatever he doesn't like, I hope he's like a talent agent who works for a talent agent, something, because he is really one of the most talented characters you see in this show because he has such a versatile list of hobbies.
I think he works for the state with road construction. But he coaches Little League in his off time, but maybe doesn't have any kids.
I actually think he and Con Jr. are married.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're married. I think they live in some bohemian atmosphere somewhere.
Maybe.
And they're the couple you see on like HGTV where it's like she's an underwater basket weaver, makes $6 million a year, and he's a master crayon mixer or something, and he makes $2 million a year. Yeah, some crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think you're absolutely right, though. He is kind of one of the most talented ones that he could do pretty much anything he wanted to do.
Yeah, everything he sets his mind to do, he's always successful at. Like even when he did the comedy stuff, he ends up on a stage doing comedy.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he ends up bumping elbows with like all of these people and different things and atmosphere. He goes out there and hits the golf ball. He was actually decent at golf.
From the Willie episode.
And he was good at he's good at some stuff. I think he is good physically more than his dad gives him. I think he has the hand-eye coordination down, if not the physicality part.
He does, and I think it's because Hank had it also, and of course Peggy was fast-pitch softball and all that stuff.
And that takes a lot of that takes more hand. Fast-pitch softball is more hand-eye coordination than football.
I don't even know how
to release the ball. And
I don't even know how they keep their arm on.
I don't either.
It's some crazy stuff.
I don't know how they're. They have less. From what I was reading, they have less injuries than like actual baseball players because of how they rotate their arm when they launch it. It's less because it's like it's all the force at once, and when they do like a baseball throw, because your arm extends and extends your shoulder and stuff. But since they do like this rotational deal, the energy is transferred differently through their arm, and it causes less strain on their tendons.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
sure. I'll take your word for it.
That's what it said. I mean, it was on some health.org site. So.
It's like it's an email I got.
Some email I got.
All right, so that is Husky Bobby, Season 2, Episode 6, King of the Hill. Another great one. And next week, we will be moving on to Season 2, Episode 7. Really clipping along here.
Yeah, Season 2's flying. We'll be midway through soon.
Yeah.
This one is a longer season.
22?
20-ish. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that.
I think most seasons used to be like 22 episodes.
22 probably.
Yeah.
Actually, it fluctuates, I think, with King of the Hill. I think sometimes they'll have 20, and then sometimes they'll have like 18, and then sometimes they'll have 22.
Well, I think they were on air during the writer's strike and different stuff like that too. So.
There was a lot of those things happening in the 90s and 2000s and stuff like that. Maybe our strikes.
Maybe our fact checker could come up with a few points for us. We hadn't heard from you this week, man. So hit us up.
RDX.
Hit us up. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us again, and we will see you next time. Check out all the other shows at roguemedianetwork.com, and they can find us on socials.
At BWAAA KOTH, BWAAA KOTH. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok.
Woo! That's a lot.
Yeah, it's there.
All right, man. We'll see you next time.
Wimatanye. Or Escúchame, rather.
Escúchame.
BWAAA.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.